The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of the staff or management of Visionary Related Entertainment.
And this hour of music is brought to you... No, never mind. Sorry about that. Aloha and good afternoon, and welcome to our weekly program, Maui Nonprofit Notes. This is the show where we talk story with Maui's nonprofit executive directors and staff to find out how they're working to support the needs of the Maui community. We're sponsored by Pacific Source, Maui's best source for building materials and a cabinet and supply showroom open to the public at the Waikapu Bayshard. I'm Susie Tiemann, Interim Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific and President of the Maui Nonprofit Directors. And I have two fabulous guests here today to talk to. And so we're going to go right straight to them. We're going to start out. Yeah, that's right, Sharon. You didn't know that, did you? First fabulous guest on the list, Sharon Kepler, who is with Goodwill here on Maui. And how long have you been with the agency?
April 1st. I'll be there for 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
Just go like that, did it?
It sure did. Yes.
A lot of growing in those 3 years.
Oh, absolutely. When I first started with Goodwill, we only had 2 programs, and now we have 6.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, so start us off. Tell us about them.
Okay, well, we have all of our programs are based around employment, assisting our clients to either obtain or retain a job. So all of our programs will offer the assistance of, resume making, interviewing skills, learning soft skills, all the kinds of skills that you need in order to either get or keep a job. And then, of course, we do the retention as well, so workplace conflict and communication with your boss and coworkers, stuff like that. So it's really the basis of our mission is to help people become, independent and, self-sufficient and be able to be community contributors.
There you go.
So to speak.
Right. So now who would come to see you?
Well, we have a lot of different programs that are focused on different demographics of people. So we have our Job Connections program, and that's anybody that is considered low income or poverty level. We have our Imiloa program, which is anybody that is immigrant to the United States or non-U.S. citizens. We also have our SNAP program, so that's people that are on food stamps to come and help and find a job and, make ends meet. Then we also have the First to Work 2-parent non-U.S. citizen program and the First to Work vocational rehab. So these are people that are on financial assistance, cash benefits from the state. And, they have to be compliant and follow all these requirements in order to stay on the welfare system. And so we're there to, help them through and help them get off, too, right?
Right.
And then our last program, if I'm doing the math right, is the See Hawaii Work program. And that's our subsidized employment program where First to Work clients are referred to See to be employed with one of our partners. And basically, we help subsidize the payroll expenses for the first 3 months that employer will hire one of our clients. And the employers act as, mentors. It's almost like their 90-day probationary period, but the employer benefits because they get subsidized, pay wages, and the client benefits because they really have an employer that is hands-on with them, mentoring them all the way, yeah.
So now that list of employers, you must have quite a list, I would think, or not?
We do. Well, we've been building the list.
Okay.
We have a new employer relations specialist, Amy Johnson. She is fabulous. And she's actually gained a lot more new employers in the last couple of months. So we're really happy.
And a lot of times during the economic downturn that we've had almost the whole time you've been there, I would think it would be hard to find people. On one hand, it'd be hard to find people who could take the time to train somebody who's pretty new or totally new.
Sure.
But on the other hand, it probably is easy to find people who want to have the subsidized paycheck.
Yes, absolutely. A lot of employers out there, they love that benefit, of course, because, if the client doesn't work out for some reason, then, they didn't invest all this money into them. It's a win-win. It really is. And then after their contract of the 3 months is done, then the employer will retain them as a regular employee, and then, the subsidization ends, and they found a really great employee.
That's terrific, yeah. When you're working with folks like this, it's across all types of jobs?
Oh, absolutely. We have people from no experience at all to college graduates, that they're just run into some bad luck and got, laid off or whatnot. The economy is pretty bad and people aren't hiring as much. And, and then, of course, we have the U.S. citizens and non-U.S. citizens. So we have some people that can't speak English at all. And, our programs provide that guidance to get them the skills to start learning English, attend those ESL classes or to start practicing English speaking.
Where do they go to take ESL?
Oh, well, we send them to the Maui Community School for Adults, for sure.
Oh, okay.
Great place. We also send some clients that come in that don't have a GED or high school diploma to, go and get that, because that is definitely employable.
Yeah, they're going to need that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
And then we also do in-house. We do our own ESL training. It's about a week, about 30 hours, and it's really a stepping stone to go into the community school classes. Kind of builds the client's confidence, makes them to have enough knowledge to understand when they go into the classroom what's expected.
It's kind of a teaser.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
If they start to get into it, then they'll go on, hopefully.
Exactly.
And get more.
Exactly.
So when somebody comes into, now for the Sea Hawaii work, are they on some subsistence?
Yes.
At that
so
point?
they would be on financial assistance.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the person just walking down the street saying, I can't find a job, if they came in,
they wouldn't go through the Sea Hawaii Work program,
Okay.
but we would find a program for them. Maybe they would qualify for Job Connections, which is our low-income program.
If they've been without a job for a while, they definitely are low
Sure.
income.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you've got several different programs similar, but with different requirements for
Correct. Yeah.
taking part in the program. Wow, I learned something. That's cool.
Yeah, we're busy.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. One of the things that I noticed was talking about the state provides medical insurance.
Yes.
So that the employer doesn't even have to pay for that.
Correct. During their 3-month contract and the training mentorship part, the state will take care of the medical.
The other piece I loved, coming from the other side of the desk, as the employer, there's like one piece of paper to fill out. That jumped out at me. It's like, okay, and it'll be processed in 15 days. It's like, you sure this is a state program?
Yeah. Yes.
I'm sorry, that wasn't nice, was it?
We love our funder.
Yeah, well, no, but you're doing the processing.
Yes,
You're making
we have
it
a lot
happen for them.
of course, but we have a lot of support from our funder as well, and they're the ones that help us through and kind of created the program together in partnership.
Right.
What we felt would be the best thing to help our clients and the employers and the community at large, I guess.
Well, it's always one of those. It's not a joke because a lot of us do wait for money from the state longer than we would like to. And so if you can, if this really happens, this is fabulous, because back years ago, I can remember where people helped with programs like this. They brought people in to work for them, and 6 months later, they still hadn't gotten their money back.
Yeah, I think that they've gotten the program down pretty well, the system.
They've learned.
So, yeah,
because
exactly.
it's hard to, if you're a small business and you're taking advantage of this program because you don't have the money to really go out and hire folks, but do have the time and the patience to train, this is excellent.
Absolutely.
But to have to wait to get reimbursed for that money can be a problem.
Sure.
Now, one of the things that I noticed, I went to the Goodwill website to do some research on what's going on. And it doesn't say much about Maui.
Well, we are across the state, that's why. I guess we all get our own little airtime. But Maui is going to be put on the map real soon. We're planning on opening up a retail store in July.
Really?
Yes. So all of the staff is excited. We've been asking for years, when is Maui going to get a retail store? And our prayers are being answered, and it's going to happen this year. So, I can't, share too much information because it's all still very much in the works. But be expecting a grand opening in the summer.
Wow! Now, will that will also, you'll need more employees?
Yes, and that's the great thing, is that we'll be adding to the workforce. We'll be opening jobs on Maui. It's going to be a wonderful thing.
And if I remember correctly, the people who work in the store usually are clients.
Sometimes, depending. if it works out, if it's a part of their employment plan, I mean, we like to match our clients with what their goals are, what they feel they're good at or what they like, because we look for the longevity of career even, not just a survival job type of thing. But yeah, I mean, absolutely, we could be hiring our clients.
And it seems like I remember back on Oahu when I did some things with Goodwill over there, they even had like a repair crew when people gave them things that had minor problems with them or just didn't work and needed a little bit of work to make them work.
The refurbishing.
Well, that was an awful sentence, wasn't it? A little bit of work to make them work, a little bit of fix-up to make them work. Those were Goodwill clients.
Yes, so sometimes we do have our clients do certain things like that. So, like on Oahu, and I don't want to talk about Oahu too much,
right.
but, we have like the recycling programs, we have the paper shredding programs and stuff. And, we do hire, it's just to get our clients those skills
right.
and, getting into work habits, getting good work habits. And who is the best people to train them but us, right?
Yeah, exactly. Now the store, I know you said you can't say a whole lot about it, but I'm gonna kind of go a little softly here and say, are we talking clothes, household items?
Yes, both.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we are going to be looking for donors. So, gather all your stuff you want to get rid of and plan to give it to us real soon.
Don't take it to the dump.
No, definitely don't take it to the dump.
It really gets me sometimes when I take garbage, literally garbage, to the dump. I see some of the nicest stuff. People just back up with their pickup, throw it out, and it's like, now there's a place to take it. Because really, some of it's really nice looking stuff.
Yeah, everything's reusable, really. Another man's trash is another man's treasure.
There
is
you
what
go.
They say.
There you go. So when you talk about placing people in the businesses, are they all big businesses or all small businesses? Or?
We have a wide range.
Okay.
We have small mom and pop type businesses, self-employed people that are just needing extra hands, like maybe landscaping or something, as well as some of the bigger companies that, we've got some hotels that ask us for help, as well as some of the fast food joints, because it doesn't hurt, right? It's just another referral source. It's another a pool to find employees. So there's no obligation at all to say, hey, these are the open positions we have, send us some referrals or people that you think might fit. Because if you don't sign the contract, then there's really nothing. It's just, passing the word on, really.
Right. And do you see a lot of people continue with the company that they start with?
That's our goal. So, yeah, we really do.
That works.
Sometimes employers will ask for maybe another month or two with them just because maybe they're thinking, oh, this person's really good. And we realize that, they started at retail, but they might actually be better for supervisor, and so we want to kind of train them in that way. And so we'll extend contracts if that's the case. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, and then it's just more promising when that happens.
So would you... do you have a success rate?
Jeez.
That's an on-the-spot question.
Yeah, I'm not really too sure. If I had to put a number out there, I would say maybe 80% is retained.
Terrific.
Yeah.
That's terrific. Now, do you follow them after that for some period of time?
We do for about a year.
Okay.
Yeah, just so that we're still in communication with them, making sure that they're still happy. And then after a year, we're pretty much like, okay, I think you got it down. And then,
okay,
move on.
Yeah, because you can't keep them all in the circle.
No.
They've got to get out and do their thing and see how it works for them. So, I mean, as you can see, I'm really excited about the See Hawaii work program. Anything that has to do with bringing people into the workforce and getting them trained. And, for me, I don't think there's anybody better to train my staff than me. Mm-hmm. I don't know. That's not an egotist talking.
No.
That's just the way, because they learn the way you do business.
Absolutely.
And back when I was teaching, how to start your own business classes, one of the things we talked about was, when you start your business, it's you, it's your reputation, it's your name. And as you get to the point where you have to start hiring people to go out and help do what you do, and then they start going out on their own, you want them trained to be like you, to continue that good reputation and that good name. And, you can't just hire a bunch of people and say, here's the keys to the truck, go out to so-and-so's and fix cut their grass.
Yeah, that won't work.
Yeah.
You got to teach them the culture,
Yeah. And so that's what, and I always kept saying it. I never ask anybody to do something I didn't know how to do or hadn't done in my business.
Or willing to do yourself.
Yes, right. It may not be my favorite job, but it's there, okay? On that note, we're going to take a break and let Pacific Source have a few seconds of your time.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in Central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
Okay, thank you, Pacific Source. We are back. This is Maui Nonprofit Notes, the weekly show that the show doesn't talk to. That's a terrible sentence. Where we discuss what's happening with the leaders of our Maui nonprofit organizations. We're talking with Sharon Kepler with Goodwill, and she's kind of let some good news out here for us, to something to look forward to. Their new store that's going to be opening around July, and I think she said she kind of clams up when I ask her specifics. So I think it's don't ask me any more questions about it. It's coming. It is. I gotcha. We've been talking about the See Hawaii Work program and the subsidized training program where they send people into employment to be trained by the manager, the department head, whoever, and subsidize the first 3 months of their wages. Anything else you want to add to that part, or you want to go on to a different program?
No, I mean, that's pretty much See in a nutshell. If you want, to get more information or have any questions, you can feel free to call our office. That number would be 442-8913. You can just ask for the See Hawaii Work staff, and any of us can answer your questions.
How many people do you have on staff over there?
For See, we have two. So we have our employer relations specialist. That's the person that goes out and meets and greets with the employers. And then we have our job retention coach, who's the one that works with the clients one-on-one. And then they, in partnership, make those marriages between client and employer.
And it's obviously working if the number that pops into your head for success rate is 80%.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's fabulous.
Thanks.
I just, because I was looking at some of the numbers, and they're talking about like 2,000 people you've helped.
And this is statewide, right? I mean,
right.
it's a statewide contract. So every island in Hawaii has a See Hawaii Work program that Goodwill is, in charge of. And so, if you move to another island and you want to be a part of the program, just go look them up.
Cool. Very good. So what else you want to talk about?
Oh, let's see. Well, we also have our clients do volunteering type of a thing. And so I was actually talking over here and mentioning it, but, to gain experience. So, the nonprofits out there, if you have need for volunteers, you can always call us as well. It's a great way for our clients to gain skills, basic skills, get those work habits as well as references.
Now, when you say work as a volunteer, is there some payment to the
participant?
It really is volunteer.
It's absolutely
You're just matching them up.
Exactly. And I guess the way that it happens is because these clients are on financial assistance, they are getting that compensation of, work. But, it's mostly for us to help nonprofits, meet their missions as well, and getting the clients that experience and exposure.
And all the nonprofits need volunteers.
Yes, so call us up.
So, do you have volunteers working with you?
We don't.
I'm sorry.
It's awful. I mean, it's not awful. It's just a conflict of interest. That's why. It's a little bit of a fine line when we have our own clients volunteering for us. And, we're very high in confidentiality and whatnot. And it's just, And I guess that's itself a training lesson for a client. But we just try to keep it separate.
It makes all the sense in the world, because you really you've got files that nobody should see except the one person who's working with that client.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I guess I can talk a little bit about this. How many more minutes we got? I was telling them on the break that we are planning a community resource fair. Goodwill Maui wants to sponsor a free event for those people that will be participating, which are the booths and whatnot, as well as free to the public to attend. And the vision is to get as many resources in one space at the same time that people of Maui can come to and find what is the best program that's going to help them with what their needs are. It could be from, their children have autism to, my husband's disabled to, I really need food, whatever the need may be. I need to increase my education. We're hoping to get some of the educational groups out there to be involved as well. And of course, because we're Goodwill and we're all about employment, we're hoping to get some employers to have booths as well. So it'd be like a community/job fair type of extravaganza. And it's all free. We're hoping to get a lot of donations. We're not going to charge the nonprofits and the organizations that want booths to be a part of it, versus some other fairs out there that charge you to be there. So it's something really exciting for us. We, like I said earlier, we're in the preliminary stages of planning, but we are really actually shooting for June, which is really soon. We put together a job fair a couple years ago, and so we're just kind of using that as our basis. So there's not much planning involved, I suppose. It's just more the details, and we're actually having a meeting tomorrow, which is why I can't share too much more information about this project. But we're meeting tomorrow, and we're solidifying some of those finer details. And so some of you nonprofits will be getting an invite letter.
There you go. Great. So that's kind of like the lines of the nonprofit directors, where we, get everybody together to come out.
Absolutely.
And show what you can do to help people. And so as they see what the needs are, or what needs are being filled by the agencies, if that's something their family needs,
exactly,
it's right there.
Yep, exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's Goodwill to the max.
Yeah, thanks. We're hoping it's going to be a big success.
Yeah. So now, you're talking about 6 programs, and you've got what'd you say, 2 people working in this program?
In the C program.
So how many altogether?
We have, including myself, I believe 16 staff members on site for Maui. And all in their own programs. So we have 2 for our vocational rehab. We have, 4 employment counselors for our 2-parent non-U.S., 2 employment counselors for our SNAP program. Yeah, it's...
What does SNAP stand for?
It's the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program.
There you go. She does got it. I know that. I hate doing that.
It's okay. So yeah, it's, we've got people that have been there for years, and they're really specialized, and they really know what they're doing, and they're super compassionate and passionate for their clients' success. So
that's terrific. So now people come to your office, and that's located?
We're at 250 Alamaha Street, right in Kahului. We are on the corner of Alamaha and Wakea.
Oh, okay.
So we're actually right across the street from Maui Family Services.
Oh, yeah, where the architects used to be.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And Dell's, I think, is across
Kitty
the street
corner,
as well.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so we're pretty centrally located. We're in a good spot. So if you don't know what program you might be able to fit into, you can always stop in, and we'll give you all the information and figure out where you best fit. Yeah.
And these are you're talking about 18 years and older?
Yes.
For any of these programs, right?
Yeah, we don't have any youth programs. Other offices, Goodwill offices across the state have some youth programs, but we don't have that yet. But not saying we won't.
Yeah, I like the way she says yet. Right. So now this office is only how old?
Oh, gosh. I think we've been open for about 6 years now.
6 years.
But we've expanded. We went from 1 office in that building to now 3 offices in that building because the more programs, the more space we've needed.
That's terrific.
So, yeah,
that's terrific. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Now we're going to shift gears a little bit, and we're going to go into disaster preparedness or something like that. With the American Red Cross, we have Michelle Liberty, who is the Maui County Director, and who works with all volunteers.
Yes, I am the only staff person. I'm very envious when I hear you say 16 people, what I would kill just to have half of that, or what I would give, not kill, I suppose. Yeah, it's killing me sometimes, that's for sure. Yeah, but we get the job done with these volunteers. These are very high-end volunteers that we have, people that are active in the community, skilled, employees or owning companies, nurses, mental health professionals. We've got really an awesome group of people.
I think what kind of gets me is whenever, like, just even a house fire, Red Cross is there.
Not only are people there for these families after, a house fire as the example, but from the time that they're receiving that phone call in the middle of the night, usually in a dead sleep, it can be 20 minutes to the time they're on that family's doorstep or standing out on the curb with that family, whichever the case is. So it's pretty much as they're getting the call, as they're getting their instructions, they're grabbing their stuff. They've all got go kits. They're ready to roll when it's time to go. And that's what matters to them, is getting there as quickly as they can, because we've got people waiting.
And you've obviously got people in all areas of the island then.
We do have people in all areas of the island. Some of our remote areas, like I'm responsible for all of Maui counties, so that includes Lanai and Molokai, Hana. Even Lahaina during disaster times would become somewhat remote. We've seen it during traffic congestion, even just from the tsunami. But if we start looking at flooding or any type of event that way, we're really going to be looking at a bunch of small communities, even on the Lahaina side, not to mention Hana, and we all know what happens along that road to Hana.
Right, yeah. And it's when I said that something is as small as a house fire, I mean, to a family, that's major. I didn't mean to belittle the house fire, because I can't imagine watching my house go up in flames. It's just, to me, fire is more scary than water, wind, anything. Because fire is just so immediate.
It is immediate. It's similar to an earthquake. An earthquake, we really don't have that warning either. But anything that takes your life and basically turns it upside down in a moment, and you're out of control of that. And that's hard. That's really hard stuff to deal with.
So when you talk about these, the people that go to these disasters at 20 minutes, they're there, wake up out of a sound sleep, grab their stuff. I mean, it's like being a fireman. Grab your stuff and go. How well trained? How many? I mean, are we talking years of experience coming up through the ranks?
There's a variable. As these teams are put together, we have what we call, it's our disaster action team that respond to these kinds of disaster events. And we always have our disaster action team captain. So typically the way the response would run, a typical textbook response would come in through dispatch, whether it be being police or fire, come into our hotline. Our hotline operator then will get our captain on the phone and say, we've got this is the situation, this is where it is. The captain will then give the hotline person instructions as to how many responders he or she is going to need out there on site, where to meet them, where to go, that type of thing. So the hotline's really setting up the team, so the DAC captain's getting the supplies that are needed and heading out to the site or to the location. So then by the time all of the team, meets up together, they're there and they all have their responsibilities. They've been trained by a disaster orientation class, followed by sheltering classes, disaster assessment classes, client casework, and then they're ready to go on to the disaster action team and receive training there. We also make sure that our responders are trained. There's a class we have called psychological first aid, and it's really common sense stuff. It's stuff that most of us know, but sometimes when you're put in that moment during that disaster where emotions are running typically very high, it's just good to have that repeated grounding, so they're aware of what to look for, what are the warning signs. Does this family or does one of the individuals in the family need to meet with a crisis counselor? If there's injuries, if they've lost medication, if they've lost glasses, then we have other responders that are medical professionals, nurses typically, that are there to help them through that part as well.
So the information that comes in so that the right responders go out has to be things like how many people are involved, And the size of the disaster is the number of people.
It would really be ideal if every call that came in gave us all of the information that we needed, but it just doesn't work that way. Sometimes it's we have a family. Sometimes it can say we've got a family of 4. We get there, find out there's an attached ohana with another 6, 7 people living in the same dwelling, basically. So it tends to grow a little bit from what that onset report comes in as.
And they are so prepared, they can handle it.
They can. Our responders can handle it. We've responded to families that have taken the time, as we all encourage them to do, to develop that disaster plan, have that written plan, know the contacts, have that go bag with emergency supplies and be ready to go. And now and then we do encounter those people that have listened and that they have actually that written plan.
Right.
In fact, one of our clients that we had about a year ago in a Kahului fire, she had taken the time to do just that. She had her supplies together. She had a written disaster plan. And when she was offered Red Cross assistance, which happens typically once the scene is secure, that's when so we're not first responders. We come in once the scene is secure. But she was offered services from the Red Cross, and she denied those services or declined the services because she is somebody that gives to the community. She's somebody that volunteers. She's been just a really involved community person for many, many years. And she had a written disaster plan. So one of the first things that she needed to do, she had elderly parents that were in the house at the time, and so she needed to get her parents to a safe location, get them away from this chaos and this scene. So she gets her parents to safety, and then she went on to the pharmacy to replace medication. She had it down, but about that time she started to question herself, and she started to think, what am I missing? And suddenly the magnitude of what had just happened hit her, and she realized that, you know what, maybe I just need a little bit of help. And she called. She did not get me directly that day, or actually, she did get me directly. Normally she would have gotten somebody, an assistant that would have been manning the phone, but that person wasn't there. And she told me right off the bat, I have a plan, I don't need your help, maybe a checklist would be a good thing. And as I talked with her, she finally said, can you just help me? And it's like, we'll have a team. And she talks about this. She's done some testimony for us. And she talks about this. And she talks about how this group of strangers descended upon her house, really, there to help her family. And that was why they were there. It was all about her. And we know that for those of us that work nonprofit work, those of us that are the giving people, it's hard when you're on the other side of that. Right. To say yes and accept the fact that you're the one that needs the help in that moment.
But she got herself to the point where, like you said, her parents were safe, and she had accomplished that initial reaction, if you will, was a reaction for her. Yeah. Which is good, because for most of us it wouldn't be. We'd panic.
That tends to be true. That tends to be true. And the more prepared we are, it doesn't mean we're not going to panic when it happens. But at least once we can kind of get our mind and our bodies to settle down a little bit, then we know, okay, wait a minute. I have this bag. It has water in it, or it has water purification tablets in it. Oh, I've got this extra medication and glasses. We're not going to have a problem with that. And just even those little things, all by themselves seem little, but in that time, in that moment, it's critical.
Somebody yesterday was saying, we're coming upon hurricane season again. And I said, wait a minute, 3 times a year we have hurricane season now? And I said, no, Susie, the time just flies, like that. And I often wonder, I think that I'm somewhat prepared, but I know I'm not in reality, because I can't comprehend how long we could be without some of the services we're so used to. Okay, is the gas in the car, okay, keep it full. I don't do that on a regular basis, I'm the first one that has the red light come on and say, Susie, water, yeah, okay. Right now, I got 4 bottles of water at home. That's not going to go anywhere.
No, it's really not. And I think you're bringing up a really good point. And a lot of our volunteers work with what we call community disaster education. They're out there talking with businesses, with other nonprofit organizations. We're reaching out this year into the schools, and just different elements of our community just to make sure people understand this. But during a hurricane, the shelters that are going to be open, the designated shelters will primarily be in our schools, our Department of Education facilities. There are no services available in an evacuation shelter for hurricane. You do need to take your own stuff, which means if you've got a family of 5, you want to make sure that you've got, your water, your food, your bedding, what you're going to need, in case that storm does hit and you're not able to return home for a time.
Right, and we'll come right back for more of that after a word from our sponsor.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in Central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
Welcome back. This is Maui Nonprofit Notes, talking story with the leaders of Maui's nonprofit organizations and finding out how they're helping Maui be and remain the best island home in the world, right? We're talking with Michelle Liberty, who is the Maui County Director for the American Red Cross. We've been talking about that list, get a kit, make a kit, for hurricane season, which is coming up again shortly. And she just handed me a list, which is, I probably have done everything wrong.
Oh, that's not good.
I know, and I think I'm a pretty organized person, and I don't have a family of 7 to take care of.
It may be for a lot of people that it's a process. Maybe it's not something that they have all together right now today, but if we start now, and if we at least, we look at it, and a lot of places throughout the United States, they'll tell us, have 3 to 5 days worth of supplies. Here in Hawaii, we know that we're going to need more than that if something major hits our islands, if our airports are out, if our harbors are out. It's going to take some time, and I don't like to be thirsty. I don't know about anybody else.
Right.
But, you do want to have that gallon of water per person per day, and I highly recommend going 7 to 10 days. Always err on the conservative side. You can always use that water later. Same thing for medications, flashlights, batteries. A lot of us know that we have mosquitoes here on the island. It's a nuisance, and we'll get those little small things of mosquito repellent. Realize that after a water event, a storm, a hurricane, a tsunami, mosquitoes are going to breed heavily, and it's going to be a real problem. Our little samples or our little small sizes of repellent probably not going to carry us through all that long. So some of the things to keep in mind,
You think about, or at least I do, I think about, okay, if something hits, I want to stay home. I don't want to go racing to a shelter. Mistake number 1?
No, not really a mistake at all. It depends, again, on the type of event that we're talking about, the type of disaster event. But I think what you just said is what I hear from a good 90% of the people that I talk with. Ideally, we all want to stay home. If we own the property, if we own our home, we want to be home. I encourage people, listen to messaging, because we're not playing. We're not out there just saying, oh, let's make everybody in Maui run to an evacuation site. We're doing that for health, life, and safety reasons. I just attended a conference or a disaster planning event a couple of weeks ago, and one of our local people here from Maui got up, and they were somewhat angry that there have been so many warnings, so many times to evacuate, and not a damage, you know, as far as he was concerned. Other families would not agree with that. And he said, you know, can't we get better? And it's like, I think we're doing a really, really great job. I think our scientists at the Pacific Disaster Center, they're learning, they're testing models, they're constantly looking at this stuff, the goal being to protect life and property. And so if evacuation orders are out there, I just really encourage everybody to listen to those and get to someplace safe.
But at some point we get to the point where we say, oh, here it comes again.
It's true. It's true.
You know, what is it? Who cried wolf?
Yeah, the boy who cried wolf, and that's really true. But again, I just can't stress enough that when those evacuation orders go out, when that siren sounds, listen to messaging. Those of you that have an NOAA weather radio, listen for the weather messaging and find out where to go, where is safe, what's happening out there, because otherwise you may find yourself in a situation where you've waited too long and you can't get to a place that's safe to be.
And the different parts of our island are so, well, they're so much alike, but they're so dissimilar as well. Like even, I mean, I live up in Kula, and like it can be a absolutely beautiful day at my place. 4 miles down the road in Pukalani, it can be pouring down rain.
It's true.
And it's always different temperature, you know, just the little bit of drive down the hill. And so I think that sometimes we just, you know, we look out from up there and we say, oh, gee, you know, it's sunny like usual in Kihei. And it looks like over the ridge there to Lahaina, it's the typical tourist day. And then we look at Wailuku and we can't even see Wailuku because the clouds have come in and come down so low. You don't know what's going on down there.
No, not always.
And you don't know that it's going to stay down there.
That's true, too.
So, I think it's interesting, and I'm sure somebody who knows weather patterns and stuff probably will disagree with me, but it seems like where we are, weather comes in from all different directions. It doesn't always just come down the mountain, or it doesn't always come from Pukalani side or from Olapalakua side. It'll come any which way. And so listening is the best way to find out.
Listening
where
is the best way
happening.
to find out, regardless of what type of disaster is impending for the islands. Pay attention to where, because those scientists and those emergency management people, they're looking at this and they're trying to determine, you know, where is a safe place to be and where is not. Clearly, if it's tsunami or tidal inundation of any sort, you want to get up. You want to get go up country. I had somebody call the office during one of the tsunamis that we had, not the most recent, the one the year before, and our family's up at Haleakala National Park. Are we high enough? Well, you know what? That's the best you can do, you know, and I would hope so. You know,
yeah, I do too. Yeah, I'm below that. So
as far as the disaster supplies, even, you know, don't beat yourself up about that. If you don't have everything ready to go right now, just start today. Maybe today get the water. Maybe tomorrow add the flashlights and the batteries. And, you know, if the disaster happens tomorrow, at least you'll have that much.
I think, well, shortly after I moved to Hawaii some 30-some years ago, we had the edge of a hurricane over when I lived in Kailua on Oahu. And some roofs blew off of the houses around us and things like that. And everybody's telling me, what are you doing standing out there watching it? You know? And they said, do you realize the force of that wind? And obviously I didn't, because they were telling me, you know, it could pick up a twig and just shoot it right straight through you before you even knew what hit you. And the minute they said that, they got my attention, and I went back inside. But it was like right before Thanksgiving, which is the tail end of the hurricane season, right?
Ends November 30th.
Yeah. And
starts June 1st.
Yeah, and I remember it because everybody was out buying their stuff for Thanksgiving dinners and things and putting it in their fridges and their freezers. And then we were without electricity for, it seemed to me like it was like 5 days. And it was like, oh my gosh. But it was pockets. You know, some people had electricity coming up and others didn't. And it was like, you know, okay, so we used the grill a lot. So you say, okay, as long as the freezer's got food in it, we're all set. But if you've got to leave your house, that's a whole other issue.
It is a whole other issue.
You're not going to grab that grill and take it with you.
Yeah. I'm also part of the National Response Team. Before I was the director here in Maui County for Red Cross, I was a disaster volunteer involved with our national team. And I've been out for those hurricanes. I've been out when they're, you know, Hurricane Gustav, Hurricane Ike, when they're coming on shore. And it's hard not to stay out there and watch watch. They are the most beautiful storms, but as you said, those outer rain bands are very, very dangerous. Out, in Louisiana, Texas, the places that I was, they're dropping tornadoes, lightning, just huge amounts of things that are very, very scary to be in. So you do want to get inside and get away from all of that. And hurricanes, too, we all know we get the front half, it comes, it blows one direction, and then it'll stop. And often people will want to go outside and check everything out. But remember, we don't always know how big that eye is, and the backside's about to come. And it's interesting because the front side takes everything and loosens it, and then it goes through, and the backside comes and grabs everything, and that's when you're going to see your major debris that's really going to start to, if that roof got shifted off or that house got shifted off a foundation, pretty good chance that when that wind comes back around, it's going to throw it somewhere.
It's going to go. Wow.
Yeah.
As a teenager, my sister and I used to go out and chase tornadoes. We grew up in Indiana. Not chasing them, actually. We'd go out and try to find them, if there's one in the area. Because back then, it didn't seem like they were like today's storms. It would touch down, pull up a couple trees, and move on, kind of thing. But, now some of that territory that we used to go running around in, like that one town was totally...
Joplin.
Was gone. It's gone. And we remembered one time when we were supposed to go meet some people for dinner at a Howard Johnson's restaurant on the interstate, and at the last minute we called them and said, no, we don't have time to do that. The next morning we found out a tornado had gone through that area and that Howard Johnson was not there about the time we would have been there. And it's like, okay, I don't think we're going to do this anymore.
It's interesting when you're talking about those major devastating, like Joplin, Missouri, and, the Red Cross, we work hard, all of our volunteers work hard for that preparation, pre-positioning resources, whether it's people or stuff, having everything ready. We do drills. We're constantly learning. We're constantly growing and trying to be better. But the fact of the matter is that at times there are going to be those disasters that are going to strike instantaneously, and there's no time. From the Joplin, I can remember reading a letter from a surgeon that worked at the hospital, and when that power went out and when he went to grab what he needed, there was no time to implement code whatever they had established for the hospital. But it doesn't hurt to have that preparation and that training, because then once everything kind of, you get through that initial disaster, that knowledge starts to kick in and you pretty much know what to do next. So I would really encourage those people out there that are interested in disaster services training, call our office, our number 244-0051, or go to our website at redcross.org. You can always see a schedule of training. March is Red Cross Month, so when I was invited to do this show today, I thought this is perfect. So we've got different activities taking place during the month of March. At the end of the month, we're doing our annual fundraiser called Hats Off. And this year we're going to have 5 sites running in Maui County, which is more than I think our other neighbor islands are going to have running this year. So we're a little bold out there, but we're opening up a site in Hana this year. We're going to have Hasagawa Market in Hana. We're going to have the Pukalani Superette. We'll have Longs at the Cannery Mall in Lahaina, Longs at Kahului at the Maui Mall, and also our Walmart site. For Walmart, that site's going to run the 30th, 31st, and the 1st, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and all 5 sites will be running on Saturday from 9 until 3. We'll have our volunteers out there to talk to people about the work that we do, about what it takes to be a volunteer, and they'll also be out there accepting donations, because keep in mind that the Red Cross is a non-government organization. We do not get governmental funding. We are funded from the private citizens, from the community, and we're here for the Maui community. So it is your Red Cross, and we hope to see you guys come out there as well.
That's terrific. Now, in the announcement, it was talking about off-duty firefighters, military service members, and other volunteers will be out there. I've
got people coming out this year to join our Maui sites from the Hawaii Government Employees Association, from our Maui Lions Club, and then I've got a group of young ladies that are our little pageant beauty queens that are going to come out to some of our sites too. So Pretty fun. Pretty
Yeah.
fun to get all of these organizations to kind of blend in and work together.
Interesting. Are we talking like daylight hours?
Daylight hours, the site on Saturday, all sites are going to run from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, on Friday, Walmart site will be running, like I said, all 3 days. We're going to run Walmart 9 till 6, Saturday 9 to 3, and Sunday will also be 9 to 3.
That's terrific. Yeah, and I think it's hard for us to imagine that you all do so much, and that it's the community that funds what you do.
It is the community, and our disaster services training that we offer, it is free because it's funded by the community. It's just so important that we have that ability to respond, not only here, but Molokai, Lanai, our remote areas. And without that funding, honestly, it's the remote areas that tend to get kind of left behind.
Right. Now, in your service with Red Cross, I think at some event we were talking about some of the places you've been, and you were telling me about when the river overflowed its banks up in North Dakota. You were there.
And I went out for a flooding event in North Dakota, which turned blizzard and then went back to flooding. But it was interesting. Something that I learned, I think, is what I was telling you that time that we were talking, is that, during the flooding event, they get out there, and it was Fargo, North Dakota, just a great, great community of people. You've got 5-year-olds out there with blisters on their hands because they're shoveling sand and creating these sandbags also. But what a sandbag did once that blizzard hit is it became, when that sand froze inside, a water filtration unit. So it did not stop the water until, the freezing goes away. So I've never seen communities that pulled together so dramatically to make that stop. They were throwing concrete, any kind of anything in to save their little area, their town, and they did.
Wow.
The water did not overflow those banks. So incredible stories you see out there.
When you see pictures of like a farm home that's been built up a little bit off of the farmland level area, and you'll see sandbags all around the house trying to protect the house. And I mean, there's nothing they can do about the crops. It is what it is. And now this year they're talking about, because they've had so little snow, that there's not going to be flooding issues. As a matter of fact, the farmers are going to have problems raising crops because no water in the ground. And it's like one extreme to the other. Last year it was the floods again.
Last year, 2011, we've all seen the articles. It was extreme disaster throughout the world, everywhere. Yeah. Really, really an ugly year for disaster.
And you've got some folks on your team that do go to international events.
I do have one person in particular that specializes in disaster service technology, and he just returned from Bangladesh. He was out helping to set up communications for them out there. And then we do have a large team of volunteers that deployed this last year to Mississippi, Tennessee, Alabama, all kinds of places. Wherever they need us, they're ready to go.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
That's terrific that people are willing to go and help people like that. And through the nonprofit agencies, we all help people in different ways, different times, different manners. And I want to thank the two of you for joining us today. This has been fabulous. Michelle Liberty from Red Cross, Sharon Kepler from Goodwill. Here we are. And
thank you so much.
And I'm Susie from Lokahi Pacific. It's just, I thoroughly enjoy this show because I learned so much more than you ever know just the 2 minutes we talk or get a chance to talk at different events and things. And I hope that those of you listening have learned a few things today. And please volunteer, get out there and help your neighbor, because it'll come back around to help you. We'll be back next week with another show, and I hear the music. It's time to say goodbye. We thank Pacific Source for being our sponsor, and we say aloha for another week. Everybody, have a good one.